Hello, it's me again, Izzy the Idiot, alliteration. We are now in another heat wave. After the last video that I filmed was in one, we're now in a completely separate one. So yet again, a bit greasy, but we'll get there, we'll do it. Netflix's The Sandman is rapidly approaching, and on the day of filming today, it is 28 days until it drops on Netflix. As you can tell, I am very excited. So to mark the start of Sandman season, if that's the thing, we're calling it Sandman Summer, Sandman August, Sandman whatever on Twitter, but to mark the start of Sandman season for myself, I'm doing a quick, I promise it's quick, rundown of my 5 favourite issues from The Sandman. Maybe you've never heard of The Sandman, maybe you're obsessed, maybe you've just started reading it, maybe you don't give a shit, but either way, here I am with just kind of a bit about what I love about The Sandman. Basically what I wanted to do was make this video to spread some joy, spread some positivity about this amazing thing that more and more people are going to be able to see and view and engage with when it drops on Netflix. Really quickly, before I read The Sandman, I had never read a comic, a graphic novel, anything like that. So if you're someone who is watching this thinking, maybe I want to get involved with The Sandman, but it's a bit intimidating, sorry, my camera is focusing, maybe you are someone who has watched Good Omens and you think, I want to see more Neil Gaiman stuff, that is where I came from. But The Sandman seems quite intimidating because it's this 10-part epic. Don't you worry, because there are now nearly 3 ways to get involved in the world of the dreaming, the world of The Sandman. You can give the comics a go, which is the first route. There are a lot of different versions of them now, a lot of different collections, which can be quite confusing. I have these ones, they're quite easy to keep track of. They are an anniversary edition, they've got numbers on them, which tells you which one's number 1, which one's number 2, and you know you can do that. Or there are Netflix reprints. You will know about these because they have a sticker on that you can't take off, because we all like that, don't we? That says Netflix on them if you want to go down the comic route. There is the Audible version, which is highly renowned. It's got a bloody amazing cast. I've listened to that as well, and it really adds something different. It's a different way of engaging with The Sandman. And then obviously, number 3, very soon you'll have the Netflix version to watch if you want to get involved that way. This video is spoiler free. Obviously I don't want to ruin it for anyone who hasn't read it or who will be watching from Netflix, and this was really hard to choose. There's a lot there's like however many issues, there's this many issues in the first 10 of The Sandman, the core editions, so choosing was hard. And just quickly, I've grouped 2 together. I can't really explain why because it's a spoiler, but it makes sense narratively why I've done that. So here we go. Number 1, 24 Hours, issue 6. I read this issue about a year ago now, and it's still managed to really stick with me, dare I say haunt me. 24 Hours is really the issue that got me into The Sandman and the story. It is this perfectly crafted segment of horror that appears before you. I was someone who was kind of like, not struggling, but I was a bit iffy on, will I like this, will I not like this, until I got to 24 Hours and I was like, oh no, I'm in it now, I'm in it now. I'm someone who really loves gothic horror. In fact, some of the only novels I've ever read are gothic horror novels, and while 24 Hours is less gothic and more horror, this was right up my street. Don't be disturbed if you know 24 Hours and you're thinking it's right up her street. Yeah, it's good, isn't it? One thing I really adore about 24 Hours is the structure of it. I think it's brilliant, and also these characters that you slowly meet, you slowly get to know more about. I like bits in The Sandman where you get stuff trickled through, and Neil Gaiman is very good at trickling you information so that when your brain catches up you're like, ah! I think it's perfection. It's dark, sadistic perfection. Number 2, The Season of Mist prologue, issue 21. Since I've finished The Sandman, I'm yet to feel the excitement that I did when I would turn a page and I would see one of everyone's favourite dysfunctional family, the Endless, in front of me. I really fell in love with this lot when they're all together, whether this is through games of their own devising or circumstances that are less than fortunate. No spoilers, but if you know, you know. And this issue is behind that love for the endless that I have. Imagine you're called to a family meeting, but your big brother is Destiny himself, your big sister is Death, your younger brother is nowhere to be found, your twin siblings are Desire, who is intent on fucking about, and Despair, who can do nothing but despair, and your younger sister has gone through a change so massive that she is now delirium itself. This is how Dream, starting to question his own shoddy morals, comes into this issue, and we see the chaotic, stressful and very entertaining family meeting. Number 3, Fear of Falling, Vertigo Preview. This isn't even an issue. I can't even follow my own bloody rules, I don't care. This slaps. Slaps. Fear of Falling is extremely simple. It's a story that is about a playwright who is struggling with his work and he has a little nap. And spoiler free, that's it. I mean, not even, there's very little you can spoil, that is essentially it. Obviously, there's got to be something else to Fear of Falling for me to have put it on the list of my 5 favourites, and there is. This page of comic right here is possibly my favourite in the entire run of the Sandman. That's saying a lot as well. I have a place in my heart for a lot of them, but I think this just has to be my favourite. I do think I have some weird attachment to it due to, like, when I read it, the fact that I'm in the theatre industry and I make work and showing it to people fucking terrifies me, and my adoration of this art style and the birds in the Sandman, just, I think that's why I've become so attached to it. It is in fact my lock screen, see if I can, it is in fact my lock screen in black and white edition, and it has been for months now, definitely since like February, and it's what I flick onto when I need a bit of a boost. If I'm about to go into like an audition or something, I'll be like, what would Morpheus and Jessamy do? What would Morpheus and Jessamy do? What would they say to you? Probably something quite morally questionable, but you know, it helps, it does help. Number 4, The Parliament of Rooks, issue 40. The Parliament of Rooks is a little issue that's in the same volume as Fear of Falling, and it kind of has very little to do with like a main narrative arc of the Sandman, but a lot of the ones in Fables and Reflections do anyway. You've got a few inhabitants of the Dreaming, so Matthew the Raven, Goldie the Gargoyle, Cain, Abel and Eve, and Lighter Hall's son Daniel, and they all come together in the Dreaming and they tell stories specifically to entertain Daniel, but the stories aren't very entertaining. It doesn't sound too hype of it's few characters telling stories, I know, but the real standout of this issue is the characters and the way that they interact with each other. And this is another issue where I want to show my adoration for the art. I think the art in Parliament of Rooks is gorgeous. And Parliament of Rooks is actually my Twitter header, in the same way that Fear of Falling is my lock screen. Way! I think I adore this issue so much because, again, I said this before, I really like the birds in the Sandman. I don't know what it is about them. If you don't know, a rook is a bird, looks like this, and a group of rooks is called a parliament. It's bizarre, isn't it? You wonder why. One of the key things in the issue is dancing around why the group of rooks is called the Parliament of Rooks. Fun. This may seem like quite a random issue to be my favourite, but it's really funny. Like, it's got 2 of my favourite panels in the entire Sandman run in it. These 2, you know, these, not exactly a spoiler, and it's just a nice little slice before you hit, let's call it the shitstorm of the big narrative arcs of the last 4 volumes. I just really like it. Number 5, Brief Lives 7 and 8, issues 47 and 48. There's very little I can say here about the actual issue without spoiling a lot for everyone, so what I will do instead is I will tell a little story of my first reading of this bit. I was sat on my bed, right above me, in the first week of this year, reading Brief Lives at midnight. Brief Lives was so good that I was kind of struggling to limit the amount of issues that I was reading a night. And one of the things I did when I was reading the Sandman was I'd say, like, right, 1 issue a night, because I don't want to spoil it, I don't want to just ruin it and plough ahead when I've waited however long to buy this edition. Like, I would wait. Brief Lives, I struggle to do that with because it's one story and you kind of don't want to stop reading. On this particular night, I was reading 7 and 8 together as a pair. I think I kind of decided at some point you can read 2, whatever. and I was reading 7 and 8 as a pair. That was a big mistake. To me, this little segment of the Sandman, like this very personally for me, but it is the Sandman. This is what the Sandman is about. It represents all that is impeccable about this story and about everything about this. I really struggle to articulate anything about Brief Lives because it's so like emotional for me. I can't like quite put down a specific reason why I like it. I'm not like, oh, it's the structure, it's the writing, it's this, it's the art. Like it just touches me so much and I struggle to speak about it without A, getting emotional, and B, I make no sense, do I? I make no sense. So I sat on my bed, I was reading it, and I remember vividly turning one of the pages, looking in front of me and kind of taking it in for about 2 seconds and just like bursting into tears. Like I do not know what happened. It's kind of like the past 7 volumes of the Sandman caught up with me just from this one page, which I won't share an image of as much as I want to. Even if I got rid of the text on it, it would be a spoiler, but I think for those who have read the Sandman, if I say the double page spread that's in Brief Lives 8, I think, with the starry sky, it's that one. I don't know what happened, I just kind of opened it and burst into tears. All I can say about these issues without ruining anything is it's 3 of the Endless having a little chat. And Lord, do I love the Endless having a little chat, apparently. Without spoilers, just the characters are perfect, the story is unreal, and this point really is the point that made me go like, oh wow, the Sandman's very good, isn't it? It's really something special. And that's all my 5 favourite issues. If you can think of your 5 favourites, please put them in the comments. It is hard, it's really difficult because there's so many. I apologise as well for the lighting here. The sun, it will not stay still, and this was such a quick video that I was not prepared to like set up a lighting setup or anything, so that was it. Thank you so much for watching. Keep the Sandman hype up. I'm trying my hardest here to just keep myself hyped. We've been waiting so long that at this point I'm like, we're nearly there. It's the finish line. Don't get tired yet. But yeah, I hope you like this. I hope you can see why they're my favourite issues. If you can't, tell me what yours are, and I will see you in my next video. Who knows what that might be? I definitely don't. Thank you.